Hi, it's Avery and welcome to our week 5 discussion video. We are talking about international travel, and this week we are covering how advertising reaches rural and remote areas. The company that I wanted to spotlight this week was Unilever, which we all know what it is, maybe indirectly. We know some of their some of the other companies that they own, such as Dove, Axe, or Lipton Tea, as well as so many other companies that we know of but maybe don't realize that they're owned by the mother company, Unilever. So something that I want to talk about with them was how they advertise to rural areas. I have like 3 examples in mind. One of them that I found was in some smaller Indian villages. They would recruit some of the women in the village and make a group, and they would go out and sell Unilever products door to door, and they would train them, and they would give them technology to keep inventory, in order to keep inventory and keep up with sales and keep track of all of that. And then another way that they would do that was in villages, kind of the same thing. They would recruit women and they would train them to be beauticians, and then they would use a bunch of the Unilever products that they in those villages, and the women would go out and provide those services to people around them, and in turn be advertising those products to those people in that area that probably don't get the advertising that we do here in America, because a lot of advertising that we see is on TV, on our phones and stuff like that, which also has to do with having access to internet and that sort of technology, which people in other parts of the world don't have access to as we do here. And then lastly, I wanted to cover one tactic that they used in India, which I thought was really interesting. So one way that they would advertise was through the use of cell phones. And there in India, they it's like a pay per minute type of like cell phone thing. So they would a lot of people there will call and let it ring twice and then hang up, so that the other person that they're calling can see that they called, but they won't actually get charged for the minutes on that. But the other person can call them back, and maybe they, like, no one is getting charged for that money or getting charged for that call. So Unilever took that idea and gave they advertised a number that they could call, where they would call it, it would ring twice and then hang up, and then they would get a call back that would then advertise certain Unilever products to them, as well as maybe they were spotlighting a specific product. I know one article that I read talked about a detergent that they were advertising, and in that area specifically, I think it said that they had received, like, at the kind of after a couple, like, year or so of the advertising like that, they had received 16 million calls, and the sales on that detergent had tripled in the area. So I thought that was just a really interesting way for a bigger company like Unilever to advertise to rural and remote areas.